Tech by Tips.
Hello and welcome to another Tech by Tips video. Today's video is going to be based on a video request that I have here in the queue. I swear to God I had already recorded this, but for some reason looks like the footage was lost and I never uploaded it because it was still in my queue. But this comes from Tubo Boludo and it says, "Hi, I was wondering if anyone has ever mentioned to you how to install and run WebTrees, a family genealogy web application, in a Docker container in a Synology NAS. It's essentially a PHP app with a MySQL or MariaDB database. Regards, Angelo C." So we're going to be talking about this. I had recorded this. I remember doing that with the previous version of this application. I think maybe like 1 or 2 months ago. But like I said, I don't know what happened to the video. And I checked my channel and I never uploaded it. So here we go. We're going to be doing this with the latest version. There are a lot of changes. So I'm just going to cover how we got it installed and working. And then you can figure it out how the application works, because there's been changes and I'm not familiar with the new version. But basically, what is WebTrees? WebTrees is an online collaborative genealogy application. Basically, you think of like Ancestry and things like that. So basically the same thing as a website where you go and build your genealogy, build your family tree. And it's free and open source, and it's written in PHP, and it uses SQL database as its backend. It could be SQLite, which is a database in a file, or it could be a MySQL type of database. I believe they also have an option there for SQL Server, but they don't recommend using that. So yeah, that's how it is. Basically, it's collaborative. It is customizable. You can change the modules, add themes and stuff like that. It's international, so it covers many different languages and localizations, and it's pretty straightforward and easy to set up. So how do we get this going? Well, if we go into the docs, then we can go into the install, and that takes us to a page here that talks about installing WebTrees. And I looked for the Docker Compose section, and when I did that, you see the link points to the Docker page of the official image. So that basically took me here, and then in here you have most of the things that you need. So this tells you that this is the official image. It tells you the tags that are available in there, and a description of all the different environment variables that you can give to the container. It kind of gives you a little bit of details here. Like I said, they recommend that you use MySQL type of database. You can use SQLite, so they have it here as an option too. And I noticed that when it runs, it also gives you an option to use SQL Server, but they don't recommend using that. And they have a link in here to a Docker Compose file. So that Docker Compose file, if you go to their repository, which is in github.com/nathanvaughn/webtrees-docker, then you'll see the Docker Compose example here. So I grabbed this Docker Compose file. I made changes to it because I didn't like the way that they set up the database and the storage, because it's not like inherently made for a Synology NAS. So I made changes to that, and that is what we're going to be covering, how to get this running in a Synology NAS. I am going to be using a MariaDB instance for the database, but you also have the option to use a SQLite file. So if that is the case, you simplify this a lot. Basically, you don't need another container. You just need to specify that the database type is going to be SQLite, and that should be it. And then you remove all the other database related stuff from it. But yeah, I'm going to deploy it with my SQL backend because they recommend that. They think that's the best way to get it going. So let's go to the NAS. This is my lab. Let me clear this up first because I was testing with that before. The first thing we're going to do is in the Docker folder, we're going to go to the projects folder, which is where we put our Docker Compose files. And I'm going to create a WebTrees directory that has currently nothing. This is where our Docker Compose file is going to be put. Then I'm going to go into the containers data folder, and I'm going to create a folder WebTrees for this application. And in there, I'm going to create an app folder that is going to store the application data, and a DB folder that is going to store our MySQL database stuff. That's all that you need when it comes to the folder structure to get this project going. The next thing we're going to do here is, I don't have any image for that, just making sure that I will pull that image as we build this project. I'm going to say create a new project. I'm going to call it WebTrees, and I'm going to look for that path that I just created in the projects so that our Docker Compose file is created in here. And I'm going to say create a Docker Compose. I already have it here, so I'm going to paste it and then we're going to take a look. So next, don't start it, done. So now we click here where it says WebTrees and we go into the YAML and then we can discuss the Docker Compose. In here we're going to have two containers. The first container is going to be our actual application container, and we're going to have our database container down here. For the sake of the video, I have decided to run the database as a MySQL database, which is what they recommend. So I'm going to be using MariaDB, the latest version. I'm going to name this WebTrees database, and the environment variables are going to be basically the name of the database, the user that is going to be used to connect to the database, and a root password, and the password that is going to be used to connect to the database by the application. I need to provide a user and a group for that user that has access to read and write to the folders that have the container data. So I'm using the first administrator account that gets created when you use your NAS and you set it up. So it's 1026 and 100 by default, and my time zone is America, New York, so that's why I have that. I am going to expose this app on port 3306 because for some reason I've noticed that there's some issues with database connections sometimes with this container. So that is something that I recommend that the developer looks at, because I've noticed issues with the database responding slowly or sometimes not even being recognized. The container listens on 3306 obviously, so we're going to be using the same port. And then I'm going to pass the directory for the database folder to save all the data in the NAS, so that if we have to recreate this container we don't lose the data. This is the Linux server image, so it stores everything in the /config, so that's why I am doing that. Now for the application, there's a bunch of options that you can specify here in the environment variables, but I only selected the minimal necessary to get this to work. We're going to be using the official image, the latest. We're going to name these WebTrees, and we're going to leave the pretty URLs enabled. I'm going to disable HTTPS and HTTPS redirect, because in a Synology NAS we have a reverse proxy, so we can handle the HTTPS there, do the termination and pass it to the container on plain text. My language, English US, so that's what I left in there. And in here for the base URL, I left the IP of the NAS and then the port that we're going to be using to expose the application, which is 8888. And the username for the first administrator of the application is username. The name, I just put full name. The password is app password, and the email that you need for that user. So you change all of that, make sure that you have secure passwords and usernames and things along those lines. The same, the user is the user that has permission to read and write the folders that I'm mounting. My time zone is America, New York, and I'm exposing the application on port 8888, but the container is listening on 80. And I'm storing all of the data in the app folder that we created previously. And we're saying that we're gonna wait until the database is completely up for this container to run. And that's it, that's all that we need here. We should be able to save this, and we also should be able to build it, and then it'll create everything that we need here. So let's give it a little bit of time. Here we go. Exit code 0 means that everything is good, and the notification came up over here. So now we should be able to go to the containers, go to the database, and monitor that it is working. So it'll take like 30 seconds to set itself up. So we need to be patient here, just refreshing in the logs until we see that the database is ready to serve our application. So let's continue to wait here. I'll be back when that is done. Alright, the application is up now. We can see that it continued, and then in here it says database setup complete. So we should be good to check on the application. On the logs, it should say that it is ready. So it looks like everything is good here. So now we should be able to go to the IP of the NAS and then on port 8888, and we'll get the setup wizard for WebTrees. And this is something new with this version. When I tried to work on this video before, I was using a previous version of this application, which was very different. It didn't seem to have a setup wizard at the time. So this is new, it's good. So I guess those environment variables are not really necessary, like where you set the user and stuff like that. But I did it just in case, because I noticed that the connection to the database, sometimes it's a little funky. But now we have it here. We can go and say select our language, click next. Here it tells us about the configuration of the server, how many users you can support and all that. Everything is good here. I'm going to click on next. Then you have to specify which type of database you're going to be using. In my case, it's going to be MySQL MariaDB, so I leave that checked. But as you can see, you can select SQLite, and that's going to use a file, or you can use Postgre if you need to, or SQL Server, but it's not recommended. So I'm going to go with MySQL next. And then in here, it's going to be on my network, so I'm going to put the IP of the NAS. And then the port is 3306. And then the user that we specified for the database and the password and the database name. So the user was WebTrees, and that was the same information for the database name, and then DB password for the password, and WT underscore is the prefix. So let me validate that really quickly. DB password and WebTrees. So we are good. We should be able to click on next, and notice that this time it was nice. It didn't take a long time. So perfect. That's normal behavior. That's how we should behave. So if for some reason it stays spinning there, that's what I was gonna say that the developer should take a look at, because it has happened to me that sometimes I click on next and then it just stays there spinning and fails in the end. So if it behaves like this, we're good. So now we should be able to create our first user, which should already exist because I put it here in the variables. But let's just make sure we replicate all of this. So it will be username, full name, app password. So username, full name, oh, it's the other way. Full name, username, and then app password, and then the email was me@example.com. So when we click here on next, it should create that user for us. And here we see the spinning thing that I was talking about. This is not normal behavior whenever you're doing a basic operation on the database. I don't know what's going on. It should be fairly quickly. Like you click next, it gathers the information that you provided in the form, submit it to the database, store it somewhere in the database, and that's it. It should be almost immediate. So if it takes a long time, like it's happening here for me, wait for it to finish. Might be successful, might not. So then you can try again to see if you can log in with that account. If not, then you have to create the user account, or keep trying to create the user account. So let's give it a little bit of time, see what kind of behavior we get here, and then we'll continue. Alright, it took a while because it took about a minute or a little bit over a minute, but we got to where we needed. It apparently created the account, so it says I'm logged in now, and then I can start creating a family tree. So let's call it my family, and just give it a name here. Let's say it's the Pavon family, and then create. And now it created the tree for me. So now I should be able to start working on populating the people in this tree. So if we go to my page, this is where I see all my information here. I can manage my account here. I can see family trees, charts, lists, all of that. Like I said, this user interface has changed dramatically from the last time that I saw it. So I'm not gonna cover how to use the application. That's something for you to basically go there and play with it and see how it looks. But yeah, it works. The application works. Very easy to set up. You have several options for your data storage. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so, and click on the bell so you don't miss a notification of a new video that gets uploaded. Another thing here is that leave me comments in the comment section below, because as you can see, a lot of my videos come from video requests, and I also try to help people out in the comment section. So if you have any questions, I try to be helpful to you so you understand what's going on, and if you face any problem, try to get you going. Another thing is, you should have seen no ad on my video because I'm not monetizing the channel, but that means that the effort that I put into making these videos gives me no money. I get no return from the effort. So if you like the content and you want to support me, there's going to be a link in the description below to PayPal where you can donate, and there's going to be also a Bitcoin wallet address if you prefer to donate that way. I always shout out to the people that donate to the channel on the next video that I work on after I see the donation. So just know that you're going to be given a shout out. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.